And good evening, and welcome back inside beautiful Ottawa, Ontario, the host of tonight's game between the Ottawa Titans and the Evansville Otters. Good evening, folks, and welcome into the Otters Digital Network. I'm Matthew Will, joining you all season with the play-by-play of Otters baseball. Pleased to be joining you here in gorgeous Ottawa, Canada. We have had a great time here in the couple of days we've been here, and it's been really cool to see the differences here between the states and here north of the border. Of course, don't forget, team plays Ottawa one more time tomorrow morning. That's an 11 a.m. start there in Evansville, a noon start here inside Ottawa. Then the team will travel to Trois-Rivières, just a couple hours away from here, and face the Eagles in a Friday, Saturday, Sunday set over there. And then they will make the road home next week on Tuesday. A quick three-game homestand starts between Evansville and Lake Erie. If you'd like to buy tickets for that, you can buy them right now on EvansvilleOtters.com. Stop by the box office anytime this week, or you can call in to the Otters front office at 812-435-8686. Take a second to run you through what happened last night if you missed out. It was an unreal night of defense and pitching. Well, one for one and one for the other. For Ottawa, the pitching from Mr. Evan Grills was outstanding. He went 8 full innings, gave up no runs on just 3 hits, walked 2, struck out 15. Only had 6 base runners allowed in his entire 8 innings of work. The 15 strikeouts that he threw were 3 short of a strikeout record against the Otters in the Otters' history. As for the strong defensive work, that was on the side of the Otters. One of the best nights George Khalil has seen inside an Otters jersey there at shortstop. He was very good out there. Andy Armstrong also very solid there at third base. We got to see the new faces in right field and second base of Trevor Mckinley out there in right. Julius Purrier there at second. A couple guys who joined the Otters for this Canadian trip. Both looked solid. It did look like both of them had a little while since they had played baseball last, and that just looked like they were struggling to get to balls really quickly, like they had just taken a little too much time off. I expect that tonight we'll see a little bit better performance out of both of them. Ottawa got things started in the bottom half of the first inning. After both Orozco and Wright walked with 1 out, Jacob Sanford had an RBI double that brought one home. The 1-0 score lasted until the third inning, when A.J. Wright, the third baseman, hit a solo home run, and then that is the score that held all the way to the end. 2-0 the score in favor of Ottawa. It was a strong performance on the mound from Parker Brahms for the Otters, but unfortunately he had no run support behind it, couldn't do much offense himself, obviously. Though he only had 1 strikeout and 3 walks, most of which came in the very early parts of the game, he did allow the 2 runs on 4 hits in his 7 innings of work. Jacob Bowles came in and had a strong inning out of the bullpen. No runs on 1 hit, 1 strikeout in his 1 inning of work. The win went to Grills. The loss went to Brahms. And earning a second save of the year out of the bullpen was Kevin Ascorcia. He went 1 full inning for the Titans. Gave up no runs, no hits, no walks. It was an effective 3 outs for him that ended the game. Obviously, Ottawa in a good place now with the win and the strong performance. It moves them a little bit higher in the standings. They're just 1 game back there in the East Division, which is very tight. Quebec now leads the East Division with a 7-3 record. Right behind them, Tri-City at 6-3, Sussex County at 7-4, Ottawa then at 6-4. Then on the under 500 teams to round out the East Division, New Jersey at 4-5, Trois-Rivières at 4-6, New York at 4-7, and Empire State at 0-10, still looking for win number 1 in their franchise. On the West Division, Gateway did lose to Quebec last night, but they still sit atop the West Division, 8-2 overall. They're followed by Schaumburg and Washington, who each clock in with a 6-4 record. Then it's Evansville and Lake Erie, both with 5-5 records, 3 games back of Gateway. Joliet a half game back from that at 5-6. Another half game back for Windy City, who's at 4-6, and then Florence rounds out the West Division with a 3-6 record. Things are still pretty close as of right now, but man, you certainly don't want to be the team that's behind 5, 6, 7 games already. with that, we'll take a look at what happened across the Frontier League last night. Windy City got a 3-1 win over Sussex County. Schaumburg with the 8-2 win over Empire State. That game started out 2-0 in favor of Empire State. Then the Boomers came back and got it done. Lake Erie defeated New York 7-0. The Washington Wild Things defeated Tri-City 11-2. Like I mentioned, Quebec defeated Gateway 4-3. That was in 10 innings. And then rounding out last night's action, Joliet had a 6-5 win over New Jersey, and Trois-Rivières won 5-4 over Florence. All of those teams in action once again today. There is a couple of finals already. New York defeated Lake Erie in 10 innings, 3-2, and Windy City wins for the second straight day against Sussex County, 8-6. Big win for that Windy City team, and even bigger if you're living on the East Division. That Sussex County loss helps you out just a little bit more. The rest of the games still in front of us. Just about to start is Washington and Tri-City. Then, of course, our game. And then all starting about 30 to 45 minutes after the conclusion of our game, Joliet, New Jersey, Florence, Trois-Rivières, Gateway, Quebec, and Empire State and Schaumburg. As for our game, an interesting look to how this lineup is going to look like. A couple of different changes make for this to be an exciting one. We'll go through the Otters lineup to start. Batting 1, 2, 3 will be the third baseman, Andy Armstrong, first baseman, Zach Biermann, and left fielder, J.R. Davis. Here's where we start to see a little bit of differences. The designated hitter and in the 4 spot will be Justin Felix. Batting 5th will be the center fielder, Miles Gordon. Batting 6th and making his first start behind the plate for the Otters will be the catcher, Ronnie Allen Jr. Then batting 7th, the right fielder, Trevor Mckinley. Batting 8th, the second baseman, Julius Purrier. And batting 9th is the shortstop, George Khalil. Starting on the mound for Evansville is a man that was just signed today. That was after he was traded for about a week ago and finally got the contract ready to go and signed. Brett Adcock, who is a left-handed pitcher who was in Sioux City with the Explorers in the American Association. Now he's going to get a shot here with the Evansville Otters here in the Frontier League. His first appearance on the mound, and it'll be nice to see a left-handed starter here on this Otters roster. Now the starting lineup for the Ottawa Titans. They'll start where they started yesterday, the center fielder, Will Zimmerman. Then they have a couple of changes. Batting second is the first baseman, Jason Dioshea. Then the third baseman, A.J. Wright. The right fielder and batting fourth, Jacob Sanford. Batting fifth, the left fielder, Rodrigo Orozco. Batting sixth, the shortstop, Clay Fisher. Batting seventh, the designated hitter, David Mayberry. Batting eighth, the second baseman, Jackie Urbaez. And batting ninth is the catcher, Mitsuki Fukuda. And on the mound for Ottawa is one of the Frontier League's best pitchers so far this year, in Tyler Jandrin. He's a lefty that's gone 2-0 to start off with a 0.75 ERA. Across 12 innings of work, he's given up just 3 runs on 8 hits, struck out 15. Man, he is going to be fun to watch on the mound. He'll go up against Brett Adcock. And they are just announcing the final starting lineup for the Titans. So we'll take a break for the national anthems. And on the other side, we've got first pitch between the Titans of Ottawa and the Otters of Evansville. It's Evansville Otters baseball coming at you live next here on the Otters Digital Network. Well, the anthems have been sung, the lineups have been announced, and we are ready for baseball here from a little bit overcast, but still beautiful Ottawa, Ontario. I want to thank you for joining us here on the Otters Digital Network. I'm Matthew Will, bringing you play-by-play of every Otters game all season long. And you can catch the rest of this road trip all right here on the Otters Digital Network. Great to have this platform back and give you at least the audio cast here. If you'd like to watch the game, it is still available on Flow Sports, but it will not be our broadcast. It will be both the English and French broadcasts of the Titans broadcasters here in Ottawa. If you want, you can even sync it up. Get your phone on one, your TV on the other, and, listen to both. But we're ready to go here, and throwing his last warm-up pitches is Tyler Jandrin. Excited to see what he can do up on the mound. He's already been very impressive to start this year. He's out of Northwood University in Midland, Michigan. Wasn't drafted, yet he's fallen into a really solid career, at least right now, here with the Ottawa Titans. He did sign with the Diamonds organization in the 2018 season, but just kind of played some rookie and low A ball before being released from that organization there at the end of the 2018 season. That's when he joined the Frontier League for the first time with the Joliet Slammers. He spent a couple of years there as both a starter and a reliever, and has a career 5-9 record here in the Frontier League. 2-0 this season, 0.75 ERA, 15 strikeouts, just 3 runs allowed. Man, he is going to be fun to watch on the mound this evening. And trying to take his game into the ground will be these Otters, who really struggled at the plate last night. 15 strikeouts as a team, 3 shy of the franchise's highest in a single game. So they are going to have to clean some things up. Had a good time sitting down there during batting practice, talking with some of the guys and hearing how the mentality's changing just a little bit. A lot of guys just saying, hey, just got to be patient at the dish, make the pitcher pitch to me, and not chase stuff that's bad, out of the zone, whatever. First pitch on the way, right down the middle. Oh, it's actually a little bit low. Man, that one looked really good. It's called ball 1, however. So Andy Armstrong steps in first, enters the game batting .444. His batting average was over .500 at the beginning of the week. Shows a bunt. Now he lays it to the right side. They're going to have to throw to first just in time to grab Armstrong. A nice place bunt there, but really quick off the mound was Tyler Jandrin. He picked it up while sliding and threw from his knees. Had him gunned down by about 10 feet. 1 up, 1 down for the Otters to start off. And now the first baseman, Zach Biermann, steps in. One of the most impressive bats in this lineup. He had a 7-game hitting streak. Every game he had played with the Otters, he had got a hit in until last night. But he did walk, so he kept his on-base streak alive. So 8 games he's reached base. And he watches strike 1 go by on the outside half of the plate. Jensen pitching out of the stretch. Fastball outside, and he gets Biermann to chase it way out there. Biermann falls down 0-2 in the count. A familiar spot for these Otters batters from last night. Now the 0-2 for Biermann. Way outside. He won't chase that time. Discipline, discipline, discipline. That was what was really broadcasted as the guys were taking BP today, is making sure that you're the one controlling every single at-bat you have. The 1-2 to Zach Biermann. Swings, fouls it off into the netting behind home plate, and he'll live to see another pitch. Pretty deep ballpark here. 325 to both corners, 380 to the alleyways, and 404 to dead center. The 1-2 to Biermann. On the outside half of the plate, and it's called strike 3. He doesn't like the call, but he'll make the long walk back to the dugout. And it's 2 up, 2 down for the Otters. So now the left fielder, J.R. Davis, steps in. Davis 0 for 4 yesterday with 3 groundouts and a flyout. Took his average to 317 on the year. Long wait between the first pitch. Now Davis waits on it. It stays low for ball one. Excited to see what Brett Adcock can do on the mound in his first start for the Otters in the bottom half here of the first. The 1-0 to Davis. He drives it out towards right field, and it lands maybe 4 or 5 feet just foul, way down that foul line, probably 10 feet shy of the warning track. So this count evens up at a ball and a strike. Don't forget, tomorrow's game is at a different time, scheduled for a noon start here in Ottawa. That's 11 a.m. there in Evansville. There is some rain possible, so that might get delayed. Keep an eye on the Otters' social media. As Davis sends one into the right field, shallow right field, and it gets through for a base hit. So with 2 outs, Davis has his first hit in a few games, as he was held scoreless both in that game last night and the one against Quebec on Sunday. You have to go all the way back to the middle game against the Capitals to find his last hit. So with 2 outs and a runner on first, Justin Felix steps in. Felix is the designated hitter tonight. He's batting .200 on the season. Waiting on the first offering. I'll look over to Davis at first. Pitch on the way home. Hard swinging strike one for Justin Felix. He came up empty on that swing. Like I had mentioned before that last hit, they are expecting potential rain in the area tomorrow, so keep an eye on both the Twitter and Facebook of the Evansville Otters just to see if there's any delays to be expected here in Ottawa. But right now we're planning on an 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern start. Next pitch, just outside with the fastball, evens up the count at 1-1. Digging in once again is Justin Felix, looking at a 1-1 count. Pitch on the way, a hard swing at a pitch way up in the zone, and Felix is down 1-2 in the count. 2 outs, 1-2 count. This has been something, or a situation that we've seen the head man, Andy McCauley, send a runner. We'll see if J.R. Davis breaks for second. The 1-2. Davis stays put. It's lined right back up to the pitcher. He plays on a one hop over to first. 3 easy outs. Spread around a hit from J.R. Davis, and we head to the bottom half of the first inning. Still scoreless from Ottawa. It is an absolutely wonderful night for baseball here inside Ottawa, Ontario. The temperature is expected to drop quite a bit tonight, towards the low 40s, maybe even the high 30s. And now we get our first look on the mound of Brett Adcock, who is a left-handed pitcher that was traded into the Otters organization from Sioux City in the American Association last week. Just got his contract signed and officially joined the team today. And he will be the sixth different man to start on the mound for the Otters this season. Nice to see a lefty now into the starting rotation. And Adcock stands up there real tall and real big guy. Gets some words of affirmation from his third baseman Andy Armstrong, and he's ready to go. With his first opportunity, he'll face Will Zimmerman, the center fielder, to start off. Though Zimmerman has a .400 average, he was 0 for 3 last night until he had a 2-out triple there in the 8th inning. First offering to him on the outside half the plate, called strike one. Good way to start for Adcock. The 0-1 stays low, evens our count up at 1-1. Took a little off that one, kind of looked like a changeup. The 1-1 to Will Zimmerman. He swings hard at this one, comes up empty-handed. He was way in front of that one on the changeup, and he's down 1-2 in the count. Infield is playing pretty standard depth. Outfield standard as well, except they're shifted to the left a bit to play for the pull of Will Zimmerman. The 1-2. Swinging strike three, and the first batter, that's Brett Adcock, faces in an Otters jersey, goes down swinging. And now hitting will be the first baseman, Jason DeCochea. DeCochea enters the game hitting .207, did not play in last night's game. Walk you through the outfield for the Otters, as it does look just a little bit different than it did last night. Across the outfield is the same, Davis, Gordon, McKinley. Infield is almost the same, Armstrong in left, or at third, Khalil at short, Purrier at second, but it's actually now Zach Biermann playing first, and behind the plate is Ronnie Allen Jr. First two offerings to Jason DeCochea, both outside, so the count's at 2-0. Otters have to win tonight to salvage the series. They've lost 2 of their first 3 series and currently sit at 5-5 on the season. Next pitch catches the low outside corner, and the count's at 2-1. Adcock trying to even things up, and said this one just barely gets past Allen behind the plate, and the count heads to 3-1 now to DeCochea. Pleased that you're joining us here on the Otters Digital Network. As the 3-1 to DeCochea comes home, he lifts this one up and out of play towards the first base side, and the count heads to full. What I've liked thus far from Brett Adcock is he's not afraid to mix up the pitches. We've seen a lot of Otters starters really rely on the fastball, but he's been really good about mixing in the change and that curveball that just sunk in. Oh, I thought for sure it was strike three. Ronnie Allen Jr. thought for sure it was strike three. He was ready to throw down to third to go around the horn, but it must have stayed just a bit low, and it walks Jason DeCochea here in the bottom half of the first. So now the third baseman, A.J. Wright, steps in. Now, A.J. Wright had the solo home run in the third yesterday that ended up just being an insurance run. But now there's a runner on first in the form of Jason DeCochea. First offering from Adcock. Across the heart of the plate for strike one. But yeah, I like what he's doing with his pitches thus far. That curveball looked really nice to end that last at bat. It must have sunk just a little bit too much, and that resulted in the walk. Next pitch on the outside half. It worked a little too far outside, so it evens the count. 1-1. A.J. Wright, they're at the dish now. 7-game hitting streak for him. The 1-1. High and outside, ball 2. Now, A.J. Wright played for the University of Maryland, Baltimore. Was an American East All-Conference first-team honoree in 2018. Apparently, he's a noted Philadelphia fan, the Phillies. Adcock attacks the zone this time, and the count evens up at 2-2. Nice pitch there, and Wright just decided to lay off on it. Could be a payoff pitch here for Brett Adcock. The 2-2. Swinging strike 3. And Adcock has his second strikeout of the game. And it was on that curveball yet again. He's almost struck out 3 with that curveball, but that middle one was called ball 4 instead. So now the cleanup hitter, Jacob Sanford, steps in. He had the game-winning RBI in the first inning yesterday. Enters the game batting .261. A little bit of a wait for Adcock, a glance over to first. And the first pitch comes home. High outside corner, strike 1. Sanford declined to swing at it. A little wait there on the mound for Adcock. Long look at first this time, and now the 0-1 comes home. Outside half and just sneaks it in there on the outside low corner. And the count goes to 0-2. So a chance for Adcock to pick up 3 strikeouts in the first inning here. The 0-2, runner going, and it's clipped back into the netting. So we will hold tight at 0-2. Certainly not as big a crowd tonight as they had last night. Last night was the home opener, and it was the first ever game for the Titans at home inside the Frontier League after their move a couple of years ago that got delayed. Next pitch is chopped towards the right side, picked up by Biermann, and he'll tag the runner out on his way to first. And that is how the first inning ends. Still scoreless here. A base runner for either side, but neither gets past first base. Good one coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network between Evansville and Ottawa, live from the Titan Stadium here inside beautiful Ottawa, Ontario. Now we are ready for the top half of the second inning here. After allowing a walk with 1 out, Adcock's able to get himself out of the inning. 2 of the 3 outs came via the strikeout. He looked really good up there on the mound in his first inning of work for the Otters. Getting ready to bat now for Evansville will be the 5, 6, 7 hitters of Miles Gordon, Ronnie Allen Jr., and Trevor Mckinley. Miles Gordon struggled last night, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. First offering for Gordon is on the way now. Shows drag bunt, pulls away, and it's called strike 1. Gordon batting 182 right now. But despite the 182 average, his on-base percentage is at 250, a little bit nicer. The 0-1 He lets go by for called strike two. Well, it's pretty close to the middle of the plate, maybe low and outside, or low outside corner just a bit. So now an 0-2 count for Miles Gordon. The kick and delivery way outside, opposite batter's box on the fastball. And the count goes to 1-2. Tyler Jandrin sends home the 1-2. This one's way inside. And based on where the catcher Fukuda was set up, he wanted that way outside. It looked like Jandrin just missed. The 2-2 from Jandrin. On the way, this one's lifted towards the right side. It'll be played by the second baseman on one hop. Play at first is close, but still in time to retire Miles Gordon. So now it'll be the catcher, Ronnie Allen Jr. And he played last night, picked up his first hit in an Otters jersey after 2 strikeouts. So his average is now at 250, 1 for 4 on the season. First pitch he sees, dribbles it towards the first baseman over there, and he'll play it himself. Just like that, it's 2 up, 2 down. So now the right fielder, Trevor McKinley, will step up to the plate. Trevor McKinley batting .333 after getting 1 hit in his 3 opportunities yesterday. His first game with the Evansville Otters. He's playing right field this week. First chance for him is in the opposite batter's box, the fastball across for ball 1. 2 outs here in the top half of the second inning. We're still scoreless from Ottawa. The 1-0 to McKinley. He lifts this one out towards the left field area, and it's going to drop in front of the left fielder, Orozco. Rounding first is McKinley. He puts on the brakes and retreats back to first. It's another 2-out hit, the second in the game for the Otters. So now we'll get to see the other new face, second baseman number 43, Julius Puryear. Julius Puryear, 0 for 3 last night, 2 strikeouts and a flyout, so he's still looking for hit number 1 on the season. First chance for Puryear, way inside, ball 1. Got a chance to talk with Julius just a little bit during batting practice this morning, or this afternoon. Really excited to get this opportunity. As the next ball stays way inside, count goes to 2-0. I asked him what it was like to get to play with this Otters team, and he said, well, I don't know a ton of the guys too well yet, but I'm excited to play more with them. Quick throw over to first. McKinley's back in plenty of time, however. We don't really know about the speed of McKinley because we haven't got to see it yet this year. He had a base hit yesterday, but stayed put. They caught him in a rundown yesterday. They threw over as he took an extra step towards second, just got caught in between. But he wasn't really trying to steal. Another throw over. This one with a little more power. Janet had thrown the last 3 over there with really slow throws. That one was a little bit quicker. We'll see if the 2-0 comes home this time. It does. Puryear half swings, and it's called strike 1. Look over to first for Jandrin. Sends home the 2-1, and it's in the zone. The count evens up at 2-2. The scoreboard shows 3-1, but he did call that first one a strike. 2-2, and it's a swinging strike 3 for Julius Puryear. So for the second straight inning, the Otters pick up a 2-out base hit and then leave him there at first. After an inning and a half, we're still scoreless from beautiful Ottawa, Ontario. And we're ready for the bottom half here of the second inning. Seems as if Brett Adcock is ready to go there on the mound. He was impressive there in that bottom half of the first inning. Struck out the first batter he saw, just barely missed on a full count pitch that walked the second one, but then picked up 2 outs to close out the inning, including a second strikeout. Otters are here in Ottawa for one more day. They'll play tomorrow at noon against these Titans. Then they'll head to Trois-Rivières, a couple hours to the east of us, to face the Eagles over there for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. Then they head home. They'll face Lake Erie next week at home, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You want to pick up tickets, you can stop by the box office at Bosse Field anytime this week, or you can grab them online at EvansvilleOtters.com. First pitch across is inside for ball 1. For Rodrigo Orozco, he watches the second one go by, and it's called strike 1. That one's basically across the heart of the plate. Adcock readies himself again, now on the 1-1. That pitch, oh man, almost the same place as it was the last one. Maybe just a bit higher. Because of it, it's let go for ball 2. Two and 1 to Rodrigo Orozco. That one's way up high. 3-1 now the count. Orozco was in the 2-hole in last night's lineup. Tonight he's batting in the 5-hole, hitting .286 on the season. His 3-1 lifts this one up in the infield, maybe gets a little behind home, and Allen Jr. will step 3 or 4 steps behind home plates and bring it in for a foul pop-up to start the half inning. So now the shortstop, Clay Fisher, steps in. And Fisher last night 0 for 3. So he's looking to right the ship in his at-bats. First offering he sees, hard swinging strike 1. Man, he was way behind that pitch. Adcock put a little heat behind that one. Fisher enters the game batting .205, just under that dreaded Mendoza line. The 0-1 for him. Another hard swing. Man, he ended up on one knee. That pitch was so low, and he's down 0-2 in the count quickly. Brett Adcock looking for another strikeout here. The 0-2. Swinging strike 3, and it's the third German-American bank strikeout of the game for Brett Adcock. Always nice when you can mix a lefty into your starting rotation, and Brett Adcock seems to be that guy right now. It would be great if the Otters could work him into the starting 5, and of course that means you've got to move someone out of the starting 5, or I guess you could have a 6-man rotation, but there are a couple individuals in that starting 5 that maybe would be better suited as bullpen arms. David Mayberry steps in. First at-bat for him of the series, as he did not play last night. Enters the game batting .333. Starts off with a hard swinging strike 1, and on the second pitch he grounds one towards Khalil. Khalil with a beautiful ground play. Throw over to first. Those plays look a lot easier than they are at this field because of the infield grass being so deep. It just eats those balls as they're grounded towards some of the infielders, and a great work there from the shortstop Khalil to end the inning. 3 up, 3 down for Brett Adcock. We head to the third inning, still scoreless from Ottawa. And we're ready for the top half of the third inning. 8-9-1 hitters due up for the Otters. Sorry, 9-1-2 hitters due up. Looking forward to seeing just what Trevor Mckinley and Julius Purrier can start to do once they start to fit into a groove a little bit more. Still really early in their years, as neither has gotten a lot of at-bats. First pitch comes across for called strike one against George Khalil. Khalil had one of the 3 base hits for the Otters last night, went 1 for 3 in the game. Swings hard at the next pitch and fouls it back in between the legs of the catcher Fukuda. So Khalil quickly looking at an 0-2 count. The 0-2 to Khalil. That one much further inside. Count now at 1-2. No one on, no outs here in the top half of the third inning. But wait for Tyler Jandrin on the mound. Kicks and delivers on the 1-2. Hard swinging strike 3 for George Khalil. And it's the second strikeout through the order for the Otters. So now due up is the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, third baseman Andy Armstrong. Armstrong grounded out his first time up, tried to lay down a bunt, but quick off the mound was Tyler Jandrin. He picked up the ball and fired it to first in time. First offering to him is way outside for ball 1. 1-0 the count to Andy Armstrong. Pitch on the way. That one catches the high inside corner for strike 1, evening up the count. Long wait for Jandrin before he sends home the 1-1. Oh, man, that was just low on the fastball. So the count now at 2-1 for Andy Armstrong. Armstrong is an interesting individual through this lineup because not only does he play rock solid third base, he can fit just about anywhere in the lineup. He spent a lot of time in the 8, 9, sometimes 7 holes, but when Gary Mattis or Miles Gordon are not available, he fits into that top couple of spots in the order really well just because of his consistency to get on base. Even though he does have a 444 average, he enters the game with a .516 on-base percentage. He's been really good about finding his way on. The 2-2 for him. Sends it towards the second baseman, who plays it on a line over to first in plenty of time. Didn't bounce once before it made it to the second baseman. He played that one really easily, and it's 2 up, 2 down for the Otters. So now up is the first baseman, Zach Biermann. Biermann struck out looking his first time up on just 3 pitches. First offering to him, he lets go for called strike 1 on the outside part of the plate. Now a hard swing at the next pitch, and he's down in the count. 0-2. Able to swing at something and get just a little bit of bat on it to keep himself alive. And they have the count at 1-2 on the board, but it's still 0-2. Lets it go, and now it's 1-2. Biermann trying to do something here with 2 outs. Kick and delivery from Jandrin. He lets it go, and count goes to 2-2 now. Deuce is wild, and the Top half of the third inning, 2 outs, 2-2 count, no one on. Biermann waiting on the 2-2. Hits one towards the right side. Second baseman plays it on 3 hops. The first in time. And that is how the top half of the third inning ends. We are still scoreless here from Ottawa. Bottom half of the third coming at you next here on the Otters Digital Network. Beautiful night of baseball here in Ottawa. We are truly blessed to have some nice weather, have some good temperatures, as the Otters are traveling to Canada here for the first time in over 20 years. I have to go all the way back to the 2000 season when they played at London. Other than that, it has been all inside the state since. And in game 2 up here in Canada, it's been Brett Adcock who's really running things well on the mound. So we head to the bottom half of the third inning. He'll face the 8-9-1 hitters. First, the second baseman, Jackie Urbaez. First offering is way up high. Just looked like he tried to overthrow that one. So the count's at 1-0. .345 hitter, Jackie Urbaez so far this season. Clips one towards the pitcher, and Adcock will not be able to get there in time. Man, I told you about this infield. The balls just get ate. I mean, as soon as a ball gets down in there to the grass, it just dies right away. And Brett Adcock thought that ball was going to come a little bit closer to him, but it just sat there the second it hit the ground. So it's an infield single for Jackie Urbaez on an accidental swing. So now the 9-hole hitter, the catcher Mitsuki Fukuda, will step up. Fukuda is hitting .333 on the year. Did not play last night. Now the Titans have a runner on first. Adcock's going to go check on him. He's back in plenty of time. On the season, Urbaez is 2 for 4 in stolen base attempts. As a first pitch comes across for a called strike 1. .0-1 count to Mitsuki Fukuda. Jackie Urbaez stands on first. Big lead for him. The 0-1 on the way. Showing bunt was Fukuda, but he sends it into the Otters dugout. And he falls down in the count 0-2. So Brett Adcock is going to try to find his 4th strikeout of the game. I want to see him use the curveball here. He's going to throw over to first. Back in plenty of time is Jackie Urbaez. .0-2 to Fukuda. They're going to throw over to first, and they've got him in a rundown. A throw out to second, over the head of Khalil. He got it down in time. Oh, man. Khalil had to climb the ladder to grab that ball and then threw his glove downward and tagged out Urbaez as he was sliding into second. The head man for the Titans, Bobby Brown, does not like the call, and he goes and has a discussion likely about dinner plans there with the umpire on the left side, Hughes Lafreniere, who was behind the plate yesterday. Regardless, it is a caught advancing for Baez after Adcock threw over to first and caught him stealing. Good work from Biermann to also get that ball over there. It was really high, but Khalil was able to climb the ladder and bring it down. The 0-2. Ooh, that one just missed the plate. Could have made it 2 outs just like that. Instead, the count goes to 1-2 to Mitsuki Fukuda. The 1-2. This one's chopped into right field, and it's going to land in shallow right in front of McKinley. And it's a 1-out base hit. What could have been. The Titans could have had a runner on first and third here. So back to the top of the order, the Titans go to the center fielder, Will Zimmerman. Zimmerman started our game, or started the bottom of the first, at least, with a strikeout. The first of Brett Adcock's time here with the Evansville Otters. Zimmerman entered the game batting .400 on the season. First pitch here, hard swing, got a little piece of it, sends it foul into the Otters dugout. So a couple of seconds break as the foul ball had to get picked up and sent away. Now we're ready for the 0-1 to Zimmerman. Adcock throws it home. Fastball across the heart of the plate, and it's an 0-2 count to Zimmerman. You know, the wonderful thing about Adcock being a lefty is he's standing up there on the mound just staring down Mitsuki Fukuda standing on first, just staring at him the whole way. His eyes are still over at first when he starts pitching towards home. The 0-2 misses down low. They appeal to see if he went. Yes, he did. And it's a called strike 3 after all of that. Adcock thought he did, so he asked for the appeal down at first. Allen Jr. then asked for it again. And they said yes, he did for strike 3. And it's the 4th German American Bank strikeout of the game for Brett Adcock. So it brings up Jason DeCochet. DeCochet sends it right up towards Puryear, and it gets past Puryear. He went sliding at that ball and just missed it past his glove. We'll see if they counted a hit or an error on him. They'll give him an infield hit. So the 3rd hit of this half inning. The Titans could have had the bases loaded, but because of the caught stealing there between first and second, it's just runners on first and second with 2 outs now. Brings up the third baseman, A.J. Wright. He had the solo home run yesterday. First offering to him. High and outside, ball 1. Wright is batting .425 on the season entering today. Bit of a wait here as Adcock took his time getting his pitch selection. Now sends home the 1-0. Just misses on the high outside corner, and he's down 2-0 in the count. A.J. Wright has 14 RBI on the season. That's good for the team high, and it's not really close. 6 higher than the next one. And a solid base hit here could add another one to that total. Two balls, no strikes to A.J. Wright. Adcock readies on the mound, kicks and delivers. That one's on the inside half, called strike 1. A.J. Wright really looked like he had no intentions on going anywhere near that ball. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw Brett Adcock try to attack the inside once again. It's where you want to go with some of these power hitters so that they can't extend the hands on you. 2 balls, 1 strike, pitch on the way. This time he goes up high. Looked like he just tried to overthrow it on the fastball. The count's at 3-1 now. So a bit of a jam here for Brett Adcock in the bottom half of the third inning. Runners on first and second, 2 outs, and a 3-1 count to A.J. Wright. The 3-1. That one is right along the top half of the strike zone. And the count heads to full. Going to see both runners in motion now on the full count with 2 outs. Adcock ready's on the mound. Payoff pitch. Outside, ball 4. And the bases are now loaded with 2 outs. So at third is Mitsuki Fukuda. On second, Jason DiCochea. And now on first is A.J. Wright. It'll bring up the cleanup hitter, right fielder Jacob Sanford. He had the winning RBI in the first inning of yesterday's game with an RBI double. Adcock ready for the first pitch to Sanford. On the way now. Way outside. Allen had to go diving out of his catcher stance to keep it in front of him. But it surely saved a run. 1-0 count to Jacob Sanford. 2 outs, bases are loaded for the Titans. The 1-0. This one's lifted up towards the press box. Actually lands about 6 feet shy of me. And the count heads to 1-1 now for Sanford. Good work from Adcock to change up the positioning a little bit there, put it up high, get Sanford to swing underneath it a bit. A 1-1 outside by quite a margin. Sanford with just 4 RBIs on the season. He could add 2 with something nice here. A 2-1 on the way. Lifts this one up. In the infield, shallow center field. And it's Gordon underneath it, who brings it in for the final out of the inning. And Adcock gets out of a bases-loaded 2-out jam to end the third inning. We're still scoreless here from beautiful Ottawa, Ontario. You're listening to Otters Baseball right here on the Otters Digital Network. And we're getting set for the top half of the fourth inning. Due up for the Otters will be J.R. Davis, Justin Felix, and Miles Gordon. Davis got a hit in his first at-bat, the first hit of the game for the Otters. So they have gone back and changed one of those hits to an error for the Titans. I assume it's that one that was hit towards Purrier at second. I can't give an exact announcement on which one it was because they don't have their live stats up and running yet. J.R. Davis with his first pitch across. It was called strike one. Long wait for Jandrin. Sends it home, and it's lined towards the left side. Playing it on two hops is the third baseman, Wright. Long throw across in time to get J.R. Davis. He was quick out of the box. Good work from the man in the hot corner, A.J. Wright. So now the designated hitter, Justin Felix, steps in 0 for 1 as he just about had a base hit into center field, but it was snagged by the pitcher, Tyler Jandrin, and sent over to first. So Felix needs a base hit here with one out. Get some offense started for the Otters. Oh, man, huge curveball there. A lot of movement on that one, and it's 0-1 as Felix lets it go by for called strike one. An 0-1. That time with that same curveball, but it missed up high a bit. Felix digs back in as the 1-1 comes home. Outside, 2-1 now in favor of Felix. Two balls, one strike. Kick and delivery from Tyler Jandrin. Again, missing outside. Jandrin was rock solid with his placements in the opening 2 innings. But here in the third and fourth thus far, he has struggled to keep it close. Kind of looks like he's trying to overthrow it most of the time. A 3-1. Hard swinging strike 2 for Felix. Had his eyes sit on the fences with a swing like that. A little bit of wind today, blowing out towards left field a bit. Count now full for Justin Felix. One out here in the top half of the fourth inning. The pitch on the way. Again with that curveball, and he got Felix swinging at something way lower than where Felix expected it to be. 2 up, 2 down to start the inning for the Otters. So now the center fielder, Miles Gordon, steps in 0 for 1 with a ground out to the second baseman that led off the second inning. First chance for Gordon. He lets it go by, and it's called strike one. Really late called strike. But it was that same, maybe more of a slider. It moves like a curveball, but it's got the speed of a slider. The next pitch misses way outside, and the count evens up. If Gordon can find his way on base, Ronnie Allen Jr. is on deck and ready to come up next. The 1-1. Chopped towards the right side, but gets itself foul. Count now at 1-2 in favor of the man on the mound, Tyler Jandrin. The 1-2 chopped foul as it kind of looked like Gordon was trying to hold his swing up. Didn't get his bat back in time, and he sent it into the netting behind home. So he'll live to see another pitch. Jandrin looks in for his sign. He's got it now. A 1-2, way outside. When Jandrin's missed in this inning, he is missed by a ton. So So the deuce is now wild with a 2-2 count, 2 outs, no one on here. The 2-2 from Tyler Jandrin, and time was called before the pitch could be sent home. Two balls, 2 strikes to Miles Gordon. Now the pitch. Chopped towards the right side. Played on 2 hops by the first baseman, Dicochet. He steps on first himself, and it's 3 up, 3 down for the Otters. We head to the bottom half of the 4th inning, still looking for run number 1 here from Ottawa. And we are set to go here with the bottom half of the 4th inning. Still scoreless here from Ottawa. Due up for the Titans, Rodrigo Orozco, Clay Fisher, and David Mayberry. The 3 have combined for a strikeout and 2 groundouts. First pitch from Adcock is low and in the dirt for ball 1. A 1-0 lifted towards right field. Chasing after it is Mckinley. Has to drop back towards the warning track and hauls it in for the first out. Long way to move, but McKinley with a play kind of like Elijah McNamee's made all year, just slowly moving his way out there and making it look really simple. So now the shortstop Clay Fisher up next. Fisher struck out his first time up. First pitch to Fisher, just a bit too far inside. A 1-0. That one's right across the heart of the plate. Evens up the count. You know, one of the downsides about playing at big stadiums like this is I'm so high up here, it's a bit hard to see some of the movement on the pitches sometimes, and I wish I had a better view of how some of these pitches are moving. Like right there, off-speed curveball, but up here it didn't really look like it had much movement on it. But that curveball has just about been looked at every time. I'm not sure if the Titans have swung at one of them yet. Adcock has located them well. 1-2 count to Fisher. Pitch on the way. It's chopped towards Khalil at short. He plays it on 1 hop. Throw over to first to Biermann is in time. And it's 2 up, 2 down to start the inning. Khalil continues to play rock solid there at short here in this series. And now, up for his second at-bat of the series is David Mayberry. 0 for 1 today. Had a ground out towards Khalil there in the second inning, one that just died in the infield. Khalil really had to charge it to get there in time. First pitch he sees, he lifts out towards shallow right. Dropping back is second baseman Puryear, and he brings it in. 3 up, 3 down in less than 10 pitches for Brett Adcock. We'll head to the top half of the fifth inning. We're still searching for run number 1 here inside Ottawa Stadium in Ottawa, Ontario. You're watching or listening to Otters Baseball here on the Otters Digital Network. Top half of the fifth inning here. Lots of good defense, lots of good pitching, and that's been the story of this one so far. Just 5 combined hits through 4 innings. Both sides still looking to be the one who snags run number 1. We saw a lot of this last night as well. Solid starting pitching from Evan Grills on the Titans side, and then really good defensive play by the Otters. Kept the game close all night. Just 2 total runs, 8 total hits. Not really a surprise to see more of the same in this game. These two teams are pretty evenly matched, especially with the Otters not having their full lineup here in Canada. Ronnie Allen Jr. steps in for his second time of the game. He grounded out to the first baseman his first time up. Starts off with a ball outside. Jandrin with the 1-0 on the way. Allen half swings at it, went around enough, however, and the count ends up at 1-1. Half-hearted swing there. One ball, 1 strike. This time Allen chops one foul off his foot. Comes up just a little bit hobbly afterwards. Gets a quick walk around the circle around home, and he's ready to go with a 1-2 now. 2 strikes. Man, that is a position that I think every single batter has seen just about every at-bat for the Otters so far in this series. 1-2 is way outside. Jandrin just missed with that pitch. So the count now at 2-2 for Ronnie Allen Jr. Looking for his first base hit of the game. Hard swinging strike 3 on a pitch low and away, and he sits down on strikes. Due up next is the right fielder Trevor Mckinley. He has one of the 3 hits for the Otters thus far in the game. Kick and delivery, way inside, almost hit him. He turns away just in time. I'm sorry, I said one of 3 hits. That's one of just 2 hits for the Otters in the game. As the ball goes outside and the count goes to 2-0. The scoreboard shows 3 hits for the Otters. But so far, it's only J.R. Davis and Trevor McKinley who have picked up hits. This one's chopped to the right side towards that second baseman who's made a ton of good plays. Another one here. And they sit down Trevor McKinley. So now the second baseman, Julius Purrier, steps in. Purrier still looking for his first hit with the club. He had a strikeout his first time up to end the second inning. First pitch to him, up high, ball one. Sometimes we see umpires like to really call those strikes when it's towards the top half of the zone and left alone. But the home plate man tonight, Jared Merkley, really making sure that pitchers keep it close. That one is a called strike, and the count ends up at 1-1. The 1-1 is sent way outside. 2 balls and 1 strikes now to Julius Purrier. Purrier looking at a 2-1. Half swings. Able to hold his swing up in time, however. They're going to go check, and no, he did not, says the umpire down there at first. So the count goes to 3-1 to Julius Purrier. If he could reach first, it'd be the first time he's reached safely since putting on an Otters jersey. The 3-1. Right across the heart of the plate, he lets it go, and now the count heads to full with 2 outs. Second straight inning we've seen this. The 3-2 to Purrier. Lifts this one into right field, and it's down for a base hit. Long run for the right fielder, Sanford. He picks it up, and though he's going to be held to just 1, it's the first hit in an Otters jersey for Julius Purrier. Nice hit there. Just lifted it over the second baseman's head. Had he put it maybe 5 feet further to the left towards center field, it would have been all the way to the wall, and he probably would have had a double. So now with 2 outs, which, by the way, all 3 Otters hits in the game have come with 2 outs. Now the shortstop, George Khalil, steps in. 0 for 1 with a strikeout thus far. First pitch he sees, grounds it towards the third baseman. They go to second for 1, and that's all they need to end the top half of the 5th inning. Man, we are stuck with some good defensive efforts so far in this game. Still scoreless through 4.5. Ready to go here with the bottom half of the 5th inning. Still scoreless here from Ottawa, and due up for the Titans in the inning. They'll have Jackie Baez, Mitsuki Fukuda, and Will Zimmerman. So Urbaez waits for 1 at home, and it's low for ball 1. One ball, no strikes from Adcock. Adcock kicks and delivers. Finds the zone there. Pitch on the outside half. Again with the curveball out there. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Now one sent way outside, and it's a 2-1 count. Adcock starting to take a little bit more time between pitches. A 2-1, a half swing. They're going to say, yes, he did go. So the count evens at 2-2. Glad you're joining us here for this edition of Otter Ball here on the Otters Digital Network, your home for the whole Canadian road trip. This one's lifted out towards right. Chasing after is McKinley, and he's underneath for the first out of the inning. So that brings up the catcher, Mitsuki Fukuda. Fukuda had a single there in the third inning. Ended up being left at third, however. First pitch he sees. Left alone for ball one. Leaves another one down low for ball two. Only 2 hits so far in the game for the Titans. They both came in that third inning. Barely hitting the zone this time is Adcock, and the count now goes to 2 balls, 1 strike. The 2-1. Swinging strike 2, and the count evens up. An important pitch for him to get there. So now right here is where Adcock has to win a battle. Pitch almost in the same place as that last one, but it's let go for ball 3, and the count heads to full. That full count is a battle that Adcock has lost repeatedly tonight. Needs one here. The 3-2. Chopped it back into the netting. And living to see another pitch is Mitsuki Fukuda. Three balls, 2 strikes. Pitch on the way. Way high and inside, and it's a walk. Here with 1 out in the 5th inning. So now we head back to the top of the order where Will Zimmerman steps in. Zimmerman batting .400 on the year, but he's got 2 strikeouts so far in this game. Adcock's first pitch to him, low and in the dirt for ball 1. Got to keep an eye on Fukuda over there at first. He had a huge lead when that pitch got thrown home. Fukuda doesn't have any stolen base attempts on the year. This would be a great chime for him, though. Another pitch low and in the dirt. Good work from Allen to keep it in front of him. And I'll let you know about it just because, it's my job to kind of paint the picture and bring you here. I'm eager to see what outfield is going to look like in the later innings, as there are 4 stadium lights out there in the outfield, basically one right behind the left fielder and right fielder, and then one kind of in the alleyways in between the right fielder and center fielder and the center fielder and left fielder. And the one out there in left center is not on. All the rest of the stadium lights are on here, but not that one. So I'm wondering how much that's going to affect the work of the center fielders and left fielders out there. As Adcock hits the zone on a 3-0 count. Really needed that one. So the count now at 3 balls, 1 strike to Will Zimmerman, who struck out twice in the game. The 3-1. Right across the heart of the plate. Zimmerman had already taken 2 steps out of the box practically to head towards first with a walk, and the count is full for the second straight batter. Big pitch here. Full counts. High, ball 4. It's back-to-back walks for the Titans here in the 5th inning with just 1 out. Runners on first and second now. Still no arms warming up on either side. So now the 2-hole hitter, Jason DeCochea, steps in. He's reached base both times he's been up. Once on a walk and once reaching on an error. Adcock takes his time on the mound. Glance toward first. Then a long look at second. The first pitch to DeCochea. Driven into center. Running in is Gordon. Diving catch, and he makes the play. That surely saved a run. Now they throw over to first and step on first for the second out of the inning because Zimmerman was all the way at second already. He thought for sure he was going to be scoring on the play. A double play to end the inning for the Otters after a wonderful diving catch from Miles Gordon. We're through 5 complete innings, and we are still scoreless here on your home for the Otters on the road, the Otters Digital Network. And as you rejoin us here for the top half of the 6th, worth mentioning that Andy McCauley has been tossed from the game as he was walking past the home plate umpire, Jared Merkley. He said something, and while he said it, he was kind of pointing towards Merkley as he kept walking towards the box over there in wherever or at least where a box should be for the coach there on third base side. Merkley started pointing at him, and they continued to talk, and then finally Merkley decided to toss Andy McCauley. McCauley walked over to him, got in his face, so obviously words were said beforehand that was enough to get him tossed from the game. So we're going to get to see another edition of Bobby Siegel, the hitting coach, as the third base coach for the Otters. As here, right before we start the top half of the 6th inning, manager Andy McCauley has been tossed from the game. Can't imagine what that was about. Maybe disagreeing with some of the balls and strikes called, I guess, while the Otters were up to pitch. See what we can figure out later in the evening and maybe let you know what happened tomorrow. But nevertheless, Otters ready to go with the top half or the top of the lineup, where the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Andy Armstrong, steps in. Armstrong 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts thus far in the game. The 1-0, he lets it go for a called strike one, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. So it marks the second time in a week that Andy McCauley has been tossed from a game. He was tossed earlier this week as the Otters were facing Quebec right after his pitching coach, Max Peterson, had just been tossed from the game. The 1-2 to Armstrong. He chops it towards that second baseman. Urbaez plays it on a one hop and over to first in plenty of time. It has been a wonderful day for Urbaez there at second. It's the sixth time in 6 innings that the Otters have grounded out to Urbaez. So it'll bring up the heavy-hitting first baseman, Zach Biermann, who's 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a groundout. Still hitless in this series. They go way inside on him, and it's called ball one. Kick and delivery towards Biermann. He chops it once again towards Urbaez. 2 hops over to first. Another ground out to the second baseman, and he has been exceptional for the Titans. So now it'll bring up J.R. Davis with 2 outs. Seems like those first 2 outs come ever so quick for the Otters, and they're stuck trying to do work with 2 outs. In fact, all 3 of their base hits have come with 2 outs. Davis sends one out and towards right. Sanford doesn't have to move too far, and he's underneath it for the 3rd out of the inning. Really quick inning of work there for the Otters offense. And after the top half of the 6th inning, still scoreless from Ottawa. Getting set here for the bottom half of the 6th inning. Still no score. Both defenses working extremely well in this game. And both starting pitchers have not been challenged too much. There has been a little challenge for Brett Adcock, especially there in that 3rd inning. Ended up having the bases loaded after an error and a walk. Allowed runners to get on, but no harm came from it. Able to get out of the inning. And he's just given up 2 hits through 5 innings of work. A.J. Wright will be the first man up for the Titans, and he takes ball one inside. Join us again tomorrow as the Otters and Titans face off at noon Eastern, 11 Central. We'll have the pregame show starting for you here on the Otters Digital Network. about 10 minutes beforehand. So right about 10:50, get your coffee and enjoy some morning baseball here from Ottawa. The 2-0, again inside. All three pitches from Adcock in this at-bat have all been significantly inside. A.J. Wright had a walk there in his last at-bat. He's a pitch away from snagging another. And it's a 4-pitch walk to lead off the bottom half of the 6th inning for Brett Adcock. And it looks like we are going to start to see some movement in the Otters bullpen. I think I saw Jacob Bowles hop up. He pitched last night. Jacob Sanford steps in now, the cleanup man for the Titans. 0 for 2, though, for him thus far with a flyout and a groundout. First offering stays up high, so 5 straight balls thrown from Adcock. Hasn't hit the strike zone once. It is Jacob Bowles that starts to warm up there down the right field line. Now a swinging strike evens the count at 1-1. Had it not been swung at, it would have been another ball, however. It was way up high. One ball, one strike to Sanford. Adcock sends it home, and it's chopped up high pop-up towards the shortstop Khalil, and that's out number 1. So with 1 out and 1 on, the left fielder Rodrigo Orozco steps in. 0 for 2 with a foul out there behind the plate and a fly out to right field. Runner on first is A.J. Wright. Not really a speed threat, so he doesn't have a huge lead over there. First pitch home from Adcock is outside for ball 1. Jacob Bowles seems to be warming up rather quickly, trying to be available at a moment's notice if things go south for Brett Adcock. The 1-0. Right across the heart of the plate, evens the count at a ball and a strike. Adcock with a long look over at first, then sends home the 1-1. A half swing. They don't even check down to see if he did go or not. And it's ball 2. So a 2-1 count now to Rodrigo Orozco. Adcock with a deep breath, a long look at first. Now the 2-1. Sent towards Armstrong at third. To second for 1. To first. Got it. Double play. Great work to dig that one out of the dirt by Zach Biermann. And it's a 5-4-3 double play to end the inning and bail out Brett Adcock. We are still scoreless through 6 innings of play here from beautiful Ottawa, Ontario. This is Evansville Otters baseball right here on the Otters Digital Network. Through 6 innings of play, still scoreless here. Let's take a look around the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard. The Tri-City Valley Cats and Washington Wild Things tied at 1 apiece in the top half of the 8th inning. Trois-Rivières leads Florence 1-0 in the top of the 4th. Still scoreless in the top of the 4th are Gateway and Quebec. In the top of the 4th, the New Jersey Jackals lead the Joliet Slammers 4-2. And in the top of the 2nd, the Empire State Grays are up 2-0 on the Schaumburg Boomers. Grays still looking for win number 1 of the season and of the franchise. We'll take another look in just a little bit at what things look like across the Frontier League. Due up to start the top half of the 7th inning, the designated hitter Justin Felix. 0 for 2 thus far for him with a ground out and a strikeout. Tyler Jandrin has been rock solid on the mound for the Titans thus far, and he starts off with called strike 1 on the inside half of the plate. No balls, 1 strike to Felix. Pitch on the way. Chop to the left side. Picked up by the shortstop. Long throw. Got it in time. Nice play there. The shortstops on both sides have been exceptional in this series thus far. So now with 1 out, the center fielder Miles Gordon steps in. He's 0 for 2 with a couple of ground outs. Jacob Bowles continues to warm up for the Otters down the right field line. So I do imagine he'll be coming in to start the bottom half of the 7th. If so, wonderful work from Brett Adcock in his first opportunity with the Otters. 2 hits allowed, no runs, 4 strikeouts as well. A hard swing from Miles Gordon that doesn't catch anything, evens the count at 1-1. Pitch on the way. He lets it go by for ball 2. Tyler Jandrin has had 3 or 4 different pitching motions. Sometimes he's in the windup, sometimes he's in the stretch and still does a bit of a windup. That last pitch, he was in the stretch, but just tossed it right away. A 1-1 catches zone, and it's now a 1-2 count to Miles Gordon. And now they've updated the scoreboard again. It's 2-2, the actual count. Kick and delivery from Jansen. Jandrin found his location low and inside, and Gordon was able to just foul it back into the netting and keep himself alive. Now they've got the scoreboard and stream all together. 2-2 the count. Two balls, 2 strikes to Miles Gordon. Swinging strike 3 on a pitch low in the zone, and he sits down on strikes for the first time today. So again, 2 early outs for the Otters, and Ronnie Allen Jr. will step in with 2 outs, no one on. 0 for 2 on the day with a ground out and a strikeout. Only 3 Otters have reached base. They were all via singles. And Allen lets the first pitch go by, maybe in the high outside corner a bit, for called strike 1. Hard swing at the second pitch. He was way in front of that one. Expected a fastball. Did not get it, however, and he's down 0-2 in the count. Once again, the Otters 1 strike away from another unsuccessful batting inning. The 0-2 way high, and it's laid off for ball 1. 1-2 for Allen Jr. Swinging strike 3, and that's how the inning ends. Another 3 up, 3 down inning for the Otters offense. And after 6.5 innings, we are still scoreless here from Ottawa. Pitching change needed here for the bottom half of the 7th inning. Getting the nod out of the bullpen is going to be Jacob Bowles, the 5'10", 190-pound rookie out of Mount Washington, Kentucky. Will make an appearance for the 2nd straight night. Want to let you know that this call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solutions needs. On the mound is Jacob Bowles throwing home towards Ronnie Allen Jr. And that pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Let them know that Evan the Otter sent you. Clay Fisher due up to lead off this bottom half of the 7th inning. 0 for 2 thus far for him with a ground out and a strikeout. First pitch he sees, he swings at, lifts up towards shallow right field, and running in to make the play is McKinley on the run. 1 pitch, 1 out for Jacob Bowles. So quickly, now the designated hitter David Mayberry due up. Ground out and a pop-up for him. And now they're going to go ahead and make a change and have a pinch hitter come in here in the designated hitter spot. That'll be number 41, Brennan Dadson. Batting .394 entering the game. He appeared in last night's game as well. First pitch for him is called strike 1. Oh for 3 yesterday for Brendan Dadson. Thinks about going through. Decides to hold off on the swing, and it's called or given to him as a ball 1. Ball is lined towards left. Gets out of play, however. Just fouled over the fence. 1-2 to Brendan Dadson. No movement in the bullpen for the Titans thus far. Rightfully so. Tyler Jandrin has been really good. Pitch outside evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes for Brendan Dadson. Brendan Dadson, a left-handed hitter, waiting on a 2-2 from Jacob Bowles. Pitch on the way. Way inside, just about hit him. So now a full count here for Brendan Dadson. This has been an area where Otters pitchers have struggled in this 2-game set thus far. Really struggling to win the 3-2 battles. Payoff pitch, and it's a swinging strike 3 for Jacob Bowles. Picks up his first German American Bank strikeout of the game. So now with 2 outs, the second baseman Jackie Urbaez steps in. Single and a fly out for him thus far in the game. But he was caught between first and second after his single in the 3rd inning. A little bit of a wait before the first pitch, and it comes across for a called strike 1. Don't forget that the Otters and Titans conclude their 3-game and season series tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time, noon here in Ottawa. It's their Kids' Day game here. You can catch the game right here on the Otters Digital Network. I'll have the pregame show for you at about 10:50 Central Time. The 1-1 to Jackie Urbaez on the way. Swinging strike 2 on a pitch that just sunk in the zone. Had a lot of heat behind it, so it wasn't quite a curveball, but when he started swinging at that, it was still up there near where he wanted to swing, but it ended up in the dirt. So 1-2 to Jackie Urbaez, and Jacob Bowles could end the inning with a pitch here. The 1-2 Outside, they tried to get him to chase. Man, Ronnie Allen Jr. was set up almost in the opposite batter's box. They wanted it so far outside. Count heads to 2 balls and 2 strikes here. Kick and deliver. And it ends up hitting him. Worked way inside to Urbaez. So with 2 outs, the Titans have a base runner. So it'll bring up the catcher, Mitsuki Fukuda. He has reached base both times he's been up so far in the game, a single in the 3rd, a walk in the 5th, but he was stranded both times out there. First offering, runner's going to go. The throw out to second, bounces in there, and it's past the second baseman Puryear. Wonderful jump there from Jackie Urbaez. So the potential go-ahead run and potential winning run. Boy, this game is going out there at second base. 1-0 the count to Mitsuki Fukuda. Look out to second. Now the 1-0. That one is a slider that works towards the outside half. Called strike 1. Mitsuki Fukuda is from Fukuoka, Japan. Youngest player on this team. He lets a pitch go by for ball 2. He's ahead of the count 2-1. Fukuda on the 2-1, and he lets it go. Another slider, almost the exact same one that Bowles got the first strike with. He gets a called strike 2, a slider towards the outside half. Deuce is wild yet again. A 2-2 count, 2 outs, runner on second for the Titans. Readying himself is Jacob Bowles. Here comes the 2-2. Again, slider. This one stays a bit too low, and the count heads to full. But I don't even need to say it to you. The full count pitch is something they have struggled with. Three balls, 2 strikes here to Fukuda. The pitch. Called strike 3. Oh my. That pitch was way outside. But it must have caught enough for home plate umpire Jared Merkley to like it. And after 7 full innings, we are still looking for a run here inside Ottawa, here on the Otters Digital Network, your home for the Otters on the road. Top half of the 8th inning, getting ready to come at you. Let's take a break and look at the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard. Boulders defeated the Crushers 3-2 in 10 innings earlier today, and Windy City defeated Sussex County 8-6. In games going on now, tied at 1-1 are Tri-City and Washington in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Tied at 1-1 in the top of the 5th are Florence and Trois-Rivières. In the bottom half of the 5th inning and tied at 1-1 are Quebec and Gateway. Tied at 4-4 in the bottom of the 4th are Joliet and New Jersey. And the Empire State Grays have given up 3 runs and now trail 3-2 to Schaumburg in the bottom of the 2nd. First pitch for Trevor McKinley is across for a swinging strike 1. McKinley had a single there in the 2nd inning, one of the 3 hits for the Otters. Watches a pitch go by for ball 1, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. The 1-1, a half swing. They say yes, he did go. So McKinley down in the count 1-2, risking his first strikeout of the day. Tyler Jandrin kicks and delivers on the 1-2. Way outside, and McKinley chases it out there. Swinging strike 3 for the first out of the inning. So now the second baseman, Julius Purrier, steps in. Purrier's 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout. Purrier got his first hit in an Otters jersey his last time up. A little single out towards right field. First pitch he sees, curveball that stays outside, ball 1. A little bit of a wait for Tyler Jandrin. Sends a ball home, showing bunt was Purrier, and the ball worked way high and inside on him. He gets the bat away, and it's a 2-0 count now. Jake Polancic has started to get warmed up for the Otters down there in the right field pen. The 2-0 for Purrier. He jumps out of the way as the count goes to 3-0. If you missed the last inning, the head man, Andy McCauley, was ejected from the game just as he was walking past the home plate umpire to start the half inning. And it's a 4-pitch walk for Julius Purrier here with 1 out in the 8th. So now coaching over at third base is the hitting coach, Bobby Siegel. Billy Easley has been the man down there on the first base side the whole game so far. And there's going to be a meeting there on the mound for the Titans before we can get the first pitch to George Khalil. Now starting to warm up for Ottawa is Kyle Serrano. Serrano played for AA Corpus Christi last year. Hails out of Tennessee. This definitely looked like a time just to buy some time. It was interesting. There was 2 separate coaches that made the walk out there to the bump. Neither one was the pitching coach, surprisingly. A throw over to first. Back in plenty of time is Julius Purrier, however. Purrier's got the legs underneath him. I could see him trying to snag a base here. First offering to Khalil on the high side of the zone, but still inside for a called strike 1. Khalil is 0 for 2 with a fielder's choice and a strikeout. Another throw over to first. Purrier back in plenty of time. Another throw over to first. Oh, this one's going to be close. Purrier just got his hand in there. Oh boy, that one was really close. 0-1 count here to George Khalil. See if we actually get a pitch this time. We do. 0-1. Lifted out towards right by George Khalil. Working its way towards foul territory, and it's brought in by the second baseman, Urbaez. He ran a long way for that one and just adds to what has been an exceptional day for him thus far. So now we head back to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Andy Armstrong, who's 0 for 3. All three are groundouts thus far. Purrier with a much smaller lead now. First pitch home to Armstrong. Misses on the high side. Looked like the changeup. One ball, no strikes to Armstrong. The throw home. Just caught the high outside corner. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Armstrong digs in yet again. Now looking at a 1-2 count. Got to be defensive. Huge curveball. Throw out to first after the pitch. Not in time. Purrier's back in time. And the count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes to Armstrong. The kick and delivery. Swinging strike 3, and Armstrong will sit down. No. The scoreboard must have had the count wrong yet again. That's just the second strike for him. They've had a lot of issues here inside Ottawa Stadium thus far. And Armstrong arms one towards the left side. Gets to the shortstop, but he has no chance of making a play, and it's an infield single for Andy Armstrong, his first hit of the game. Really pulled that one to the left side, a guy who usually hits to the right side of the field. So with 2 outs, there's now runners on first and second for the Otters. And it brings up the first baseman, Zach Biermann. Boy, would this be a big chance for the big man to end this scoreless tie and give the Otters some runs. Biermann, the lefty, out of Coastal Carolina. First pitch, called strike 1 on the outside half of the plate. Looked pretty far outside. Biermann didn't love it, but he has to adapt now looking at an 0-1. The pitch on the way. That one works towards the high inside corner. It's another called strike. Biermann thought that one was high. He turned back and gave a look towards Jared Merkley. Now he's facing an 0-2 count with 2 outs, and just like that, the opportunity could fizzle away from the Otters. The 0-2. That one way outside, actually called a ball. Jake Polancic looks ready to come in whenever the Otters are starting to pitch once again. Stepping off is Tyler Jandrin. Runner on second is Julius Purrier. On first, Andy Armstrong. Zach Biermann looking at a 1-2 count with 2 outs. Lets a pitch go by, and it's in the dirt for ball 2. Deuce is really wild now. 2-2 count, 2 outs, 2 on. What a chance this would be for the Otters to snag their first run of the game. Biermann's quite the guy to do it. Has 8 RBIs so far on the year. That leads the Evansville Otters. So digging in once again is Biermann, ready for the 2-2 pitch. This one is a big one. On the way, half swings at it. It's way outside. Full count now to Biermann. Courier at second, Armstrong at first for the Otters. 2 outs here in the bottom or top half of the 8th inning. We're still scoreless. 3-2 to Biermann on the way. Way outside, and the bases are loaded after the walk to Biermann. Good patience from the big man in the box. Courier now stands on third. Armstrong on second, Biermann at first, and that's going to cause a pitching change for the Ottawa Titans. We'll take a break and let you know who's going to be the new man on the mound for the Titans right after this. You're listening to Evansville Otters Baseball here on the Otters Digital Network. Getting the nod out of the bullpen for the Ottawa Titans will be Kyle Serrano. Serrano is 6'3", 223. The righty hails from Knoxville, Tennessee, attended Tennessee, and then pitched for Double-A Corpus Christi some last year. Serrano was drafted 3 separate times, 1 out of high school and 2 out of Tennessee. Finally stuck with Houston in the 10th round in 2017. And right as he was drafted, he was listed as the number 93 top prospect on Baseball America's Top 100 Draft Prospects. Underwent Tommy Johns that year, and then just kind of saw his affiliated baseball career start to fizzle away. Now he's found an opportunity here in the Frontier League with the Ottawa Titans. So let's run through everything. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. J.R. Davis at the dish now. Courier on third, Armstrong on second, Biermann on first. The first chance for J.R. Davis, way up high, ball 1. Boy, would this be a great time for the Otters to break this scoreless tie and make life a little easier on the pitchers. Long wait for Serrano. Sends home a 1-0. Swinging strike 1 for J.R. Davis. That was a hard, hefty swing. And the count evens up at a ball and a strike. J.R. Davis had a single in the first inning. Since then, a ground out and a fly out. One ball, 1 strike, bases loaded, and 2 outs. Otters trying to get the first run of the game. The 1-1 to Davis. Way up high. He had to duck out of the way as it got close to his head. So it's now a 2-1 count. Jake Polancic is ready to go in the Otters bullpen. Shirley coming in the bottom half of the 8th. 2 balls, 1 strike to J.R. Davis. Pitch on the way. Hard swing yet again, and he comes up empty-handed. Just swung underneath it. That's been the problem these last 2 nights for the Otters. Instead of being happy with solid contact and keeping the line moving, a lot of guys trying to swing out of their shoes at pitches. And it leaves them a little empty-handed. 2-2 the count. 2 outs, bases loaded for the Otters. J.R. Davis ready for the 2-2. Serrano delivers. Outside, and the count heads to full. And the individuals in attendance that are pulling for the Titans a little upset at the ball call there instead of a called strike 3. But now the full count pitch for J.R. Davis. Bases loaded, top half of the 8th. Otters with a chance to score the first run of the game. The pitch. Oh, swinging strike. But getting just a tiny bit of it was Davis, and fouls it back into the netting, keeping himself alive. J.R. Davis with a hefty, deep breath. Now he digs back in. 3 balls, 2 strikes, bases are loaded. Could be the Otters' first run of the entire series if they can do something here. 2 outs. The full count pitch. This one's hit hard and pulled foul. Oh man, sent towards the left field foul line. But then it curves really hard towards the parking lot. Davis, a little too out in front of that one. And he held up just a fraction of a second more. That one might have been 4 runs. But instead, it's just a really long foul ball, and it's still 3-2 with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Full count pitch to Davis. Again, fouls one back into the netting. That one was timed a little bit better, just got a little too far underneath it. Wanted to remind you that the call to the bullpen there from the Titans is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. So much excitement, forgot to mention our friends there at BCS. Bases loaded, count is still full for J.R. Davis. Pitch is on the way. Lifts this one out towards right field. Chasing after it is Sanford and brings it in for the final out of the top half of the 8th inning. We are still scoreless here from Ottawa. Don't go anywhere. Exciting conclusion coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network. Still scoreless after 7.5 innings here from Ottawa. Call to the bullpen here for the Otters. They're going to bring in Jake Polancic. And Polancic is going to try to keep this game where it's at. This call to the bullpen is presented by Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solutions needs. Polancic on the mound, thrown home towards Allen Jr. And that pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by our friends at The Answer Auto Repair East. Find your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or you can give them a call at 812-475-9000. It's the top of the order, due up in the bottom half of the 8th for the Titans. Will Zimmerman, Jason DeCochea, and A.J. Wright. The 3 have combined to get on base 5 times, none with hits, 4 walks and an error. Zimmerman ready to go here. After the Otters left the bases loaded in the top half of the eighth. Zimmerman digs in. 0 for 2 with a walk and 2 strikeouts. He starts with a called strike on the high outside corner. Polancic really likes to get up there and throw pitches quick. Right away, the 0-1. Whoa, my, hard swing. Zimmerman came up really empty-handed there. Kind of fell over, too, with the swing. Quickly 0-2 for Will Zimmerman. He's going to try to avoid strikeout number 3 on the day. The pitch. Up high. Haven't seen the Otters really capitalize on 0-2 counts yet today. Most of them are missing by quite a bit, giving the Titans a 1-2 count. What we're seeing here. A 1-2 misses high and outside yet again, and quickly it's a 2-2 count. So Zimmerman trying to work himself back into the count. Two balls, 2 strikes for Zimmerman. Hard swinging strike 3 on a slider that broke away out of the zone. And it's the first German-American bank strikeout of the game for Jake Polancic. With it, the first baseman, Jason DeCochea, steps up. DeCochea has reached 2 of his 3 times, once with a walk, once on an error. Then he flied out to center his last time up on a beautiful diving catch from Miles Gordon. First pitch for DeCochea. He lifts this one up. Shallow center field. It's the shortstop Khalil who brings it in maybe 3 or 4 feet north of second base. So a quick 2 outs for the Titans. We'll bring up the third baseman, A.J. Wright. 0 for 1 with a strikeout and 2 walks. But he's been left, or he was left at first one time and was part of a double play the second. First pitch to Wright. Right across the heart of the zone for called strike 1. Haven't seen the Titans really take advantage of first pitch strikes. The Otters like attacking the zone with that first pitch, and they haven't really bit at any yet. An 0-1. High outside corner, called strike 2. So for the third straight batter, Jake Polancic has himself ahead in the count 0-2. The 0-2 to Wright. Swinging strike, but he got just a tad bit of that ball and fouls it enough to keep himself alive in the counts. So still an 0-2 count. No balls, 2 strikes here for A.J. Wright. The pitch from Polancic. Just misses on the high side of things. You want to take advantage of the YouTube comment section here, or the live chat. Let us know where you're listening from and who you're rooting on. If it's the whole Otters team or if you've got a player in particular that you just love, let us know who you're rooting on tonight. The 1-2 to Wright. He lifts this one out towards left center field, and it's down for a base hit. Drops in front of the left fielder Davis, and it's the first base hit for the Titans since the 3rd inning. Comes with 2 outs. And now the right fielder Jacob Sanford will step in. Sanford, a ground out, a fly out, and a pop out so far. First offering to Sanford on the way now. He half swings at it, but it doesn't matter. It was called strike one anyway. Time is called by the runner over there on first. It's A.J. Wright, who's kind of kicking around dirt where he was standing, trying to get himself some better ground to stand on with his leadoff. Pretty good size lead for A.J. Wright down there on first. The 0-1 outside. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. Jacob Sanford still looking for base hit number one on the game, as are quite a few of the Titans. Just picking up their third one just now. The 1-1. This one's lifted out towards left center field. It's going to drop between the center fielder and left fielder. Still chasing after it is Gordon. They're going to round third. The throw towards the infield, not in time. It's an RBI double from Jacob Sanford, and the scoreless tie is finally broken. So for the second time in as many days, Jacob Sanford has what could be the game-winning RBI double. Took all the way to the eighth inning, but finally Ottawa have struck. So now the left fielder Rodrigo Orozco steps in. 0 for 3, grounded into a double play his last time up. His first pitch is across for ball one. Stayed pretty far inside. Man, it would be heartbreaking if the Otters lost another game like this. Really solid defensive work and pitching, but then just no bats to help them out. The 1-0. That one crosses right over the heart of the plate, evening up the count at a ball and a strike to Rodrigo Orozco. Long look towards second for Jake Polancic. Throws it home. This one's lifted to the left side, but out of play and into the seating area, and the kids go running after it. They're on the berm field out there in left field. Now a 1-2 count to Orozco. Polancic needs to get a strike here, and then the Otters are going to have to find a run in the ninth. The 1-2. Lifted again to the left side and out of play into the seating area behind third. And again, the kids go running. One and two count here. Orozco trying to stay alive. Polancic trying to end the inning. The 1-2. This one's lifted in play towards the left side, now in foul territory. Long run for George Khalil, and he brings it in for the final out of the inning. But not before an RBI double from Jacob Sanford gives the Titans the lead. It's the Otters' last chance at offense. Right after this, it's Otters baseball here on your home for the Otters on the road, Otters Digital Network. And it's time for the top half of the ninth inning. The Otters find themselves down a run and have to get something going right now after a couple of base hits in the eighth. Give the Titans the lead. First, a single from A.J. Wright. He's brought home on the RBI double from Jacob Sanford. Last night, the game-winning run was scored on an RBI double from Jacob Sanford as well. Due up for the Otters will be Justin Felix, Miles Gordon, and Ronnie Allen Jr. Also, no headman Andy McCauley. He was ejected back before the sixth inning. So it's been Bobby Siegel running things there at the third base coaching box. Justin Felix ready for his first chance here in the ninth inning. 0 for 3 on the game. Lets the first pitch go by for called strike one. Boy, would this be a tough way for the Otters to drop another game. Just not able to get the bats going. The 0-1 to Felix. He half swings at one, lays off. They check and say, did he go? No, he didn't. So the count evens up at a ball and a strike. One ball and one strike to Justin Felix. The next pitch goes way past the catcher. And it's now a 2-1 count. Three outs away from Ottawa winning the series. 2 balls, 1 strike to Justin Felix. He's trying to take that opportunity away. The pitch on the way. I thought it worked a little inside, but it caught just a piece of the zone, so the count's even at 2-2. Count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes for Justin Felix. The pitch. And he fouls it back into the seating area towards the suites here at Ottawa Stadium. Don't forget that these two squads will face off once again tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Central Time. Pre-game will start right here at 10:50. So 2 balls and 2 strikes to Justin Felix. Pitch on the way for him. He's able to foul something back into the netting and keep himself alive in the count. Otters had a little bit more success in this game when it came to the bats. That came in the 8th inning when they were able to load the bases. Of course, it came from 2 walks and a single, but they ended up leaving the bases loaded. So they haven't really been able to hook multiple runs together. Multiple hits together. The 2-2 for Felix. He thinks about going, leaves it, stays outside for ball 3. Full count now for Justin Felix, the designated hitter. Digging back in is Felix. Looking at a full count here. Pitch on the way. Stays outside yet again. And after falling behind in the count early, Felix finds his way back to a leadoff walk here in the top half of the 9th inning. Looks like the Otters do have a man warming up for him in the pen. It looks like it might be Justin Watland, who is usually in the starting rotation. Before Miles Gordon can get ready for his first swing, there's a meeting on the mound for Ottawa. They bring in the whole infield. And they're going to start to get a arm warmed up in that bullpen down the left field line. It's Kevin Ascorcia, who is their closer. Earned his second save of the year last night. So the meeting at the mound is concluded, and Miles Gordon steps in for his first chance of the inning. Felix with a pretty good lead at first. Showing bunt was Gordon. Actually gets so much underneath it gets all the way over the netting behind home plate and into the seating area. So 0-1 the count for Gordon. Otters opting with some small ball here. Now the infield plays way in for Miles Gordon. See if he shows bunt yet again on the 0-1. He does. Pulls away, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. After Gordon, Ronnie Allen Jr. is due up next. Little pop in that bat, but we haven't really got to see it yet. The 1-1 for Miles Gordon. Will he show bunt again this time? He does. Pulls away at the last second, and it's called strike 2. And he turns around and immediately asks Jared Merkley why. So now Gordon will have to make contact and swing at something on a 1-2. Runner on first is Justin Felix. Still no outs here in the top half of the ninth inning. The 1-2. Showing bunt again was Miles Gordon. But it misses, and the count is now 2-2. Gordon steps back in. Of course, Gordon the lefty here. The 2-2. Is he going to show bunt again? He does. Pulls away at the last second, and it's called strike 3 for him, and he just puts his hands on his knees. He can't believe it. So now with 1 out and a runner on first, Ronnie Allen Jr. steps in. 0 for 3 with a ground out in the second, and then 2 strikeouts later in the game. Ronnie got a base hit last night. It was his first one in an Otters uniform. Felix with a small lead on first. First pitch to Ronnie Allen Jr. He lets go up high for ball 1. Big couple at-bats here for a couple guys who are new to the Otters lineup. This could be a way to earn your way into the hearts of the Otters coaching staff and Otters fans. A hard swing from Ronnie Allen Jr. comes up empty-handed, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Kevin Ascorcia warming up for Ottawa. Justin Watland warming up for the Otters. A 1-1 on the way to Allen Jr. He lets it go by for called strike 2. Really good pitch. Maybe a little on the outside half of the plate, but it was right across the center of the plate, and he let it go. Aren't going to see one that good again. 1-2 count for him now. Pitch on the way. Lets it go. It stays high, and the count evens up at a pair of balls and a pair of strikes. Justin Felix has had a couple of pretty decent leads over there at first. A throw over to first would actually make it a little tough for him to get back. Don't usually see him take this big a lead over there. The 2-2. A half swing. But he's able to check it in time, and Ronnie Allen Jr. is looking at a full count. Top half of the ninth. The Otters need one right now. Full count for Allen. The pitch. Way inside. Almost hit him. Doesn't matter. He'll take first. There's now runners on first and second with 1 out for the Otters. And that will cause a pitching change for the Titans, as making the walk back out there is the pitching coach, Tom Carcione. And with that, we'll take a break. Introduce you to the new man Right after this, 1 out, runners on first and second. The Otters are trying to make this a ball game here in the top half of the ninth inning. So we've got a pitching change here for Ottawa. They're going to bring in Kevin Ascorcia, their closer. This call to the bullpen is presented by Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solutions needs. And the pitcher-catcher battery is Ascorcia on the mound, thrown home to Fukuda. The pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Take a chance to look at the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard. Tri-City and Washington are headed to Frontier League sudden death in the 11th inning, tied at 1 run apiece. Trois-Rivières has taken a 5-3 lead over Florence in the top of the 6th. Quebec has a 3-1 lead over Gateway in the top of the 8th. Joliet has a 7-6 lead over New Jersey in the top of the 6th. And Schaumburg out to a 9-2 advantage in the top of the 5th over Empire State. So here we go. Otters got to do something. 1 out, runners on first and second. Trevor Mckinley steps in. McKinley is 1 for 3 with a single, a ground out, and a strikeout. The runner on second is Justin Felix. On first, Ronnie Allen Jr. First pitch from Kevin Ascorcia. Before he can throw it, he steps off. Receives a new sign. Here comes the first pitch for Trevor McKinley. Lets it go by, and it stays way low and away for ball 1. Due up after McKinley is Julius Purrier, the second baseman. The 1-0 for McKinley. Right across the heart of the plate. Count evens at a ball and a strike. He let that one go by. A lot of quality pitches the Otters have just laid off on. One ball and one strike. Pitch on the way. Hard swing from McKinley on a pitch that broke towards the outside, almost to the other batter's box, really. The count now at 1-2 for McKinley. One ball, two strikes. Pitch on the way from Ascorcia. Right across the heart of the plate, and McKinley knew it the second it crossed home plate. He is frustrated as he walks out of the box. Otters down to their last out. Felix on second, Ronnie Allen Jr. on first. The last hope's going to be the second baseman, Julius Purrier. Purrier has a single, a walk, and a strikeout so far in the game. Really needs another base hit here. First offering to Purrier. And it hits him squarely on the back. The bases are loaded for the shortstop, George Khalil. Well, George Khalil has come up big in situations kind of like this. Nothing quite this large with the backs at the walls. 2 outs, top of the ninth. Otters trail by 1. They've got the bases loaded and George Khalil up to bat. The 9-hole hitter needs one here. The first pitch for him. Makes contact, but fouls it back into the netting. Deep breath taken there from George Khalil. Now he steps back in. The 0-1 for George Khalil. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Top half of the 9th inning. The pitch. Really late called strike on the high outside corner. So it's now an 0-2 count for George Khalil. The Otters down to their last strike. This would be huge for George Khalil, equally as huge for Kevin Ascorcia. The 0-2 misses way high and outside. George Khalil will live to see at least one more pitch. Otters have not scored a run since they arrived in Canada. Shut out 2-0 last night, trying to avoid the same fate tonight. The 1-2 to George Khalil. Pitch on the way. Makes contact. Oh, it fouls just. Fouled down the left field line. Got good contact, but he was way ahead of the changeup there. So the count remains at 1-2 for George Khalil. With the bases loaded, Otters down to their last strike. They trail by 1. Here comes the 1-2. Khalil makes contact and fouls it yet again into the seating area, this time to the first base side. George Khalil is making sure that if he's going to go down, he's going to go down fighting. Count remains at 1-2 strikes. Bases stay loaded. Otters still trail by 1. The 1-2 for George Khalil. Swinging strike 3, and the Titans shut out the Otters once again with a 1-0 win. And the Otters leave the bases loaded for the second straight inning. A disappointing into the game for the Otters. And for the second time in as many nights, they're shut out. We'll take a break, and on the other side, we've got post-game stats and reactions live here from Ottawa. One more time, Ottawa wins this one 1-0 over the Otters. We'll be right back. And for the final time this evening, welcome inside Ottawa Stadium, here located right in the heart of Ottawa, Ontario, here north of the border in Canada. The first time the Otters have traveled to Canada in over 20 years. They have to go all the way back to 2000 when they were playing at London. And for the second straight night, the Otters are held to just 3 hits and held off the scoreboard in the hits category, or in the runs category, as they fall here 1-0. The run finally coming in the bottom half of the 8th inning for the Titans. It was an RBI double from Jacob Sanford, his second game in a row that he's had the game-winning RBI with a RBI double. Brett Adcock was impressive in his debut with the Otters. Went 6 full innings, gave up no runs on 2 hits. Unfortunately, he did walk 5. That was the down part of his game. But he had 4 strikeouts to go along with it. Then it was Jacob Bowles who came in relief to help out. He didn't have too bad an outing, but then it was Jake Polancic who stepped in for the 8th inning, struck out the first man he saw, then forced the pop out. But with 2 outs, he gave up a single, then the RBI double that ended up being the game winner. In the 6th inning, the head man, Andy McCauley, was ejected from the game, probably talking about balls and strikes on his way towards the third base coaching box. It happened during a break, and I didn't even really notice it as I was writing down a couple of notes, so I was unable to see exactly what happened there. The Otters and Titans will face off again tomorrow, except it'll be a little bit different time. It's a Kids' Day game here for the Ottawa Titans. First pitch is set for noon Eastern. It'll be 11 o'clock there, Evansville time. And you can catch the game here on the Otters Digital Network. We'll have pregame starting for you at about 10:50 Central Time as we get set for the conclusion of the Evansville-Ottawa series. And with the win tonight, Ottawa has won the series, and it's 3 out of 4 series that the Otters have played, they have ended up losing. They have really struggled to start off series well and been able to carry that momentum through the end of the series. So they will have to put together something overnight and get things ready for tomorrow. After tomorrow, the team heads to Trois-Rivières for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series against the Eagles. We'll have all 4 of those games the rest of this road trip available here on the Otters Digital Network. Then the team heads home as next Tuesday they face off against Lake Erie for the first time. That at Bosse Field. If you'd like to buy tickets for that event. Taco Tuesday, by the way. Gates will open at 5:30. First pitch at 6:35. You can buy tickets on EvansvilleOtters.com. Or you can go into the Bosse Field box office anytime this week, and they can hook you up with a ticket. Or you can call it 812-435-8686, and you can buy it on the phone. We've got a lot of different ways to make sure you get out to Bosse this year. Taco Tuesday on Tuesday, Senior Connection Wednesday with a earlier start than usual, noon on that Wednesday. And then on Thursday, the 3-game homestand will come to an abrupt end as the Otters have Thirsty Thursday, the second one of the season. You can buy tickets for all those, of course, on EvansvilleOtters.com. But more importantly, the Otters continue their 6-game Ottawa road trip tomorrow as they face the Ottawa Titans, noon here Eastern time. It'll be 11 a.m. Central time. We'll have the game for you here on Otters Digital Network. We hope you join us for it. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, I'm Matthew Will. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Otters Baseball here on the Otters Digital Network. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 10:50 Central Time.